Hi everyone. As all of us are aware that the US president has signed an official order which mentions that anyone who is entering US or attempting to enter US on H1B visa program shall be required to pay 1 lakh US dollars, which is going to shake a lot of business models in India because we need to understand who is getting impacted and who is not getting impacted. This is very important. Please understand that uh, this is defined as a regulatory risk for any business. So sometimes the regulations really kill businesses. You can take, for example, crypto regulations, gaming regulations, which has been ordered recently, and now on H1B visa program. So it's not surprise that we are receiving this proclamation signed by US President. It has been quite a while that our discussions are happening. It's just that the fee amount which is quoted certainly will become a blocking or a limitation factor for many employers who wants to sponsor their employees on H1B program to do on-site IT work. Now, how it is going to affect? There are multiple stakeholders. Let me just first go with first step or a first layer, which is a student who is aspiring to study in US market. Because for any US student, for any student who wants to study in US, it is a dream come true. And a lot of Indian students every year travel to US for this, and they land up in their dream job in US market. So for them, this is going to be a biggest blocking factor because no more going to US and educating there with limited prospects and leaving a huge debt burden back in India is going to be lucrative. So the students who are really inclined to do international education, they need to look at other destinations like Canada, Australia, or UK for that matter. But if you ask me really from the bottom of the heart, I would say India has ample opportunities to learn. And with sharing of knowledge, which is seamless in nowadays, I would say that India has ample ecosystem, ample good institutions which student can pursue their education. But if someone is really inclined, I think the available destinations which are very good from an education perspective are limited to UK, Australia, and Canada. The second layer which comes is staffing companies. These staffing companies will certainly face a lot of pressure, and most of the staffing companies are in middle and bottom layer of the enterprise stack. So these companies stem from very small to medium to large companies, and I'm sure these large companies may be able to take a shock, but certainly the middle level, small and so small staffing companies will be completely out of the business because finding a candidate and finding an employer who can sponsor this kind of FT amount looks non-lucrative. So we need to wait and watch how this new business model will evolve, whether a near-shoring will be an option or offshoring will increase with work coming back to India. The other third layer in this order which affects is IT companies who provide services, the technology services, and these companies are not affected completely but affected certainly because now they need to go back to their clients and renegotiate the contracts, mentioning about either absorbing the cost by themselves or absorbing the cost as part of price of the contract, which looks very minimal, or negotiating with onshoring as an alternate option, or saving higher IT budgets by increasing the offshoring component of the IT services business. The next layer which comes is the product companies. I don't see much of an impact happening in product companies because most of the product companies which are in SaaS mode, either they operate from US shores or they operate from Singapore or operate from India. So it is a multi-layered channel which happens. So from a product point of view, I don't see this as a major impact. If the product has really a great scalable opportunity, I'm sure employers will sponsor this $1 lakh H1B fee, and they would be sending the required expertise to US market. So if you keenly observe, uh, this is not something which is going to affect into people's lives surrounding the employment or business, but it will have its impact and related ramifications as the H1B existing visas get renewal, or the existing person who is staying in the US market have to travel outside for the renewal part of it. But any extensions which happens by the employer shall not be affected. So it is little bit tricky. So there are multiple situations for the students transitioning from OPT to the H1B program, or existing employee who is already part of valid H1B visa transitioning to extension of H1B visa. So the most affected people are who are required to travel outside US and re-enter US, or who are planning to enter US, or who has already a valid H1B visa where the travel date is after 21st September 2025. So these are the tricky situations which are there in front of us. But what other opportunities this tectonic shift, I can call, in H1B program can bring is increase of costs, primarily to the companies who are mandatory to sponsor the required expertise for traveling to US, because as per the voice which was heard during the press conference in White House, it was mentioned that this is per annum fees. So 1 lakh US dollars is per annum. So either the companies have to redraw their entire business model to see how to optimize the cost, or they need to incur cost only for those people whose technology or whose experience is really mandated for serving in US market. And for people who are already there in US and who are forced to exit US market and re-enter, definitely it will be a big difficulty. And all those people who are currently there certainly at some point of time have to travel back to India. I am expecting an Indian market to cater to these very serious experienced professionals who will be flying back, welcoming with ample opportunities, because anyone who has got good amount of experience, who is not on the path towards green card and still in H1B program, they have a wonderful experience or a know-how about a geography and the market and the technology client, and that talent coming back to India will certainly help to many startup as well as enterprise customers in bringing back the know-how. And this will further indirectly increase the demand for real estate, because anyone who wants to come back irrespective of the H1B status to have a peace of mind and a peace of sleep, certainly the real estate is going to boom back in India. The major cities where the real estate boom is expected from all these players would be in Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad and Pune. So it's a mixed bag. I won't call it a regulation which will wipe off the industry completely, a regulation which is going to impact from tomorrow morning, but certainly a regulation which will rewrite the complete business rules and completely rewrite the business model which was under operation for quite long time. And it will certainly help IT companies move away from the people model to the solutioning model, taking the ownership of delivery as well as the automation, and increased role of AI into the business for delivering the services, and opening up more onshore activities with nearshoring capabilities for companies. So you can expect companies opening up now in Canada or in Mexico as a nearshore model, or you can expect markets diversifying into European markets. At the same time, the IT budgets, if for the US tech companies, if the IT budgets are not aligned to take this hit, the negotiation would be to increase the offshoring to India. If you look at the recent incidents, for any company, it is a commercial decision to do sale and to book profit. And going by that law, any businessman would certainly love to do business by respecting the regulations, but with the end goal to achieve stakeholder value. From that perspective, you can see how Apple is doing business, irrespective of the increased duties from India. But if the latest iPhone Pro Max is getting sold out, now Apple cannot say that, I will not take production from India because it will incur additional customs duty or import duty to US. But rather, as a company, it needs to go back to the drawing board and sit with the taxation experts to see how to reduce the impact of higher cost absorption or higher tax absorption and yet remain profitable. So, same is the analogy in the current scenario. With H1B visas fee capping at 1 lakh USD, certainly it is going to shake some of the participants, as I discussed earlier, but it's not going to start from tomorrow itself. It's going to have its own transition time. In this transition time, the business model is required to be rewritten, renegotiated, so that the essence of the business or the spirit of the business in providing technology services or export of technology services to US market remains intact. But certainly it carries a deeper analysis to plan the nearshoring model or negotiate with your clients for increased offshoring model. In case your business requires deeper understanding of how your turnover is dealt with, whether it is with direct clients or you are subcontracting with someone else, and would like to understand whether and how it will impact your business directly or indirectly, if you are not able to analyze it properly, LK is available at your doorstep to make you understand what exactly is going to impact and how your business needs to be rewritten, how your business model needs to be repositioned, how a new pivoting has to be taken across. A strategic, planned, nurtured approach can only help companies avoid any kind of a panic-driven decisions which is based out of emotion and unpracticality. So, dear fellow entrepreneurs and professionals, please read the regulations, consult your legal counsels, approach a proper business strategist like LK, discuss your business very clearly and very transparently, understand the quantification of the risk, basis the outcome. Please repivot your business model so that the spirit and essence of technology and the goal of your business remains intact. As the underlying technology is not going anywhere, the underlying requirement of a technology professional is not going anywhere. It's just that the supply of people on H1B is going to be regulated, and solutioning approach will be more either with nearshoring or offshoring capabilities. So while it is certainly shaking the long-term business model which most of the Indian entrepreneurs were used to it, but it certainly rewrites a new business model as an opportunity, without which innovation will always take a back step. So please don't get panic. Consult your legal counsel, consult your business strategist, and rewrite your business plan